Okay, council, I'm just waiting for the jail to connect in and then we'll get started.
I just emailed the jail, so hopefully they'll get it.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, we have them connecting in now. All right, Mr. Pagan, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we're on the record now in People versus Pagan, case number 224684. The record should reflect the defendant's appearing today by video from Wexford County Jail. I could have everyone else put your appearances on, please.
Ryan Ziegler on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Kyle Trevis on behalf of Mr. Pecan.
Shannon Wagner, Department of Corrections.
All right, thank you. This is set for a probation violation hearing today. Mr. Travis, how does your client want to proceed today?
Your Honor, I did get a chance to speak with Ms. Wagner and Mr. Pagan, and he would acknowledge the failure to report violation. We could get into more details on that, but he would admit to the probation violation.
Okay, is there any kind of agreement in exchange for that?
No.
No, not specifically, but I do think Ms. Wagner sent out an email kind of discussing what her recommendation was going to be, and we did talk about that.
Okay, Ms. Wagner, you're going to be asking the court to proceed with sentencing today?
Yes, Your Honor, did you receive the email?
I did. Can you just state for the record what your position is with regard to sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor, just briefly, as you're aware, he was sentenced. I'm just asking, since his whereabouts has been unknown for probably a year and a half now, he's not been a new criminal activity, so I'm just asking the court to further sanction him to jail with that jail credit, and he be discharged unsuccessfully from probation with court-ordered obligations to remain preserved.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pagan, were you able to hear all of that?
Yes, sir.
And did you want to go forward with pleading guilty to the violation today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can lower your hand. Mr. Pagan, you understand that you have the right to have a hearing as to whether or not you did violate your probation?
Yeah.
And that by pleading guilty today, you're going to be giving up that right?
Yes.
Also, by pleading guilty, it's going to subject you to the maximum possible penalty on your underlying charge, which I believe, Ms. Wagner, I know we've got two charges. What's the most serious one?
The possession of meth is a 10-year.
Okay, so do you understand that, Mr. Pagan?
What are you talking about? Give me 10 years?
No, but that's the maximum possible penalty by statute that you could face for that charge. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
With all of that in mind, what is your plea to the probation violation today?
Guilty?
Has anyone threatened you with anything to get you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
Has anyone promised you anything other than what we've said here on the record today?
No, sir.
Is it your own free choice to enter this plea?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading guilty because you did violate your probation?
Yes, I did not report, sir. I was when I got released from Kalkaska, they sent me to Antrim County, and they told me when they let me out of Antrim County on a PR bond that I had to go back where I came from. And then I don't know what happened with the proceedings, but I never got no court date for that, so I didn't come back up here. I didn't have to wait back up here. So they told me to go back where I'm from. I was from Niles, Michigan. All the way to the bottom of the state. And I don't drive.
Okay, so back in October of 2022, you were released from Antrim County, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
At that time, were you on probation for this case here in Kalkaska County?
Yes, sir.
And were you aware that one of the conditions of your probation is that you have to stay in contact with your probation officer?
Well, when I got out of Antrim County, I lost all my paperwork. It got wetted, everything got destroyed. I didn't even know my probation officer's name.
Okay, so did you think you could just forget about it then and not do anything more? It was just going to go away?
No, I knew it wouldn't go away.
Yeah, so you knew that you had, at some point, you were supposed to report or try to make contact with your probation agent, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't do that.
Well, yeah, I didn't have a phone. I'm disabled. I was homeless when I got back home. It was this big, I had a bunch of stuff going on. But recently, everything's been going good. I ain't been doing no drugs. I've been doing what I'm supposed to do. Except
any of the things you told me, Are any of the things you told me a reason to not contact your probation officer and just pretend like nothing was happening with this case?
No, it's not.
All right, okay. The court finds that your plea is knowing, voluntary, and accurate. The court is satisfied there's a factual basis to support a finding that you did violate your probation. The court will accept your plea. As you've heard, Mr. Pagan, the probation agent, Ms. Wagner, wants to go forward with sentencing today. You do have the right to have an updated pre-sentence report prepared. And if you want to do that, then we can set sentencing on a different date, or we can go forward today. What would you like to do?
Well, I want to get this behind me. I'm supposed to be getting married, and I've been doing so good on out, so other than not reporting probation, so.
Okay. Ms. Wagner, other than what you've already said, was there anything you wanted to state regarding the sentence in this case?
Nothing really, Your Honor. He is collecting Social Security. He does have a pending felony charge on Antrim County that occurred prior to probation, so that matter finally caught up with him. So whenever he's released from jail here, I think he's going to go back over to Antrim County and have to deal with that felony charge that's just recently been bound over to circuit.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ziegler, did you have anything on behalf of the people?
Your Honor, I support the recommendations of probation and parole. I would just note for the court that initially when Mr. Pagan was sentenced, I believe his guidelines were 0 to 17. I don't want to speak for the court, but if the court had known at the time of sentencing that Mr. Pagan would not have complied at all with probation conditions and would have absconded from probation like this, I would have suspected that the court might have been inclined to sentence him to the 12 months maximum that would be available for the intermediate sanction cell. So for those reasons, Your Honor, I would ask the court to give him a sentence commensurate with that, sentence him to whatever the balance is with time for his credit to equal out to that 12-month sentence that the court, in my opinion, likely would have given him at the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Travis, anything on behalf of Mr. Pagan?
Yes, Your Honor. A couple things. One, quite likely, whatever Your Honor sentences him to will not be dead time on this case, but would be dead time on his Antrim case. So there's kind of a lot of repercussion for what Your Honor sentences for Mr. Pagan. And the other thing is as Ms. Wagner noted, even though he was not doing what he was supposed to do with probation, it does by all accounts appear he was crime free the whole period. The reason he came into custody was he was riding in a car that was unregistered. He was not the driver or the owner of the car, but it does look like, as he's saying, he's kept himself on the right side of the law for about 1.5 years now. So even though he wasn't complying with probation, he was doing one of the things that probation wants to see him do. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Pagan, anything further that you wanted to say today?
Yes, just I'm trying to get this taken care of. Like I said, I was supposed to be getting married in a couple of months, and I've been doing well. I ain't been messing with no drugs. I hang around with all them people that had me out there doing this crazy stuff, and I've changed my life around. This opened my eyes.
All right, thank you. The court did have a chance to review the prior pre-sentence report to refamiliarize myself with the facts of the underlying charges here. Of course, I am familiar with the road this case has taken here since sentencing back in October of 2022. There is one thing working in your favor, Mr. Pagan, and that is that it seems like no one's disputing the fact that during the interval when you were missing from this case that you were not committing additional crimes. So that's definitely positive, and Mr. Travis is exactly right. That's one of the things that we would have wanted you to do on probation. However, you did abscond. You got all kinds of excuses for not reporting to your probation officer, but none of those, as you acknowledged, and certainly as I see it, are reasons to just ignore your probation and pretend like, you know, that you weren't under these conditions anymore. And part of the reason why you got a more lenient sentence on the front end was to have you participate in probation, and you really didn't do anything at all towards the probation. And frankly, if you hadn't been picked up during this traffic stop, you still would be at large. So it's not like you at some point decided, okay, I'm going to take care of this probation issue. You just happened to be in the wrong car when it got pulled over and you got picked up on this. Otherwise, again, I think you'd still be out there. So while it is commendable that you remain crime-free during the interval here, you certainly didn't do anything at all to comply with the court's order. And so that warrants acknowledgement through the sentence here. So the court is going to sentence you to 300 days in the Kalkaska County Jail. You do have credit for 212 days served. The court is going to discharge you from your probation unsuccessfully. The court will preserve any outstanding fines and costs. The court will also provide you with your appellate rights in this case. If you haven't already received them, you'll receive some papers that explain to you how to appeal this sentence, as well as how to request a court-appointed lawyer to help you with any appeal. Ms. Wagner, is there anything else that we need to address today?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Mr. Travis?
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pagan, do you have any questions at all?
Yeah, how many you said now? What was the amount of days?
300 days, and you have credit for 212.
All right, so it leaves me 90-some days.
Yes,
Okay.
88 days. Okay, thank you. That's all for this hearing today. All parties are free to disconnect at this time.